Welcome, Laura, to the podcast.
Hello, Christine. I'm so happy to be here with you and with your listeners and your viewers.
Aw, thank you. Well, we're excited to hear from you and talk with you a little bit about your story, who you are. Let's start with where in the world are you from?
I'm originally from Romania, so I was born and raised in Romania. I would say my last 25 years, I traveled the world. I lived in 7 countries on 5 continents, and currently I reside in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates.
Wow, amazing. I want to my next question is definitely going to be what brought you to all those countries. But let's start where you're comfortable. I want to learn a little bit about you, how you blossomed, and then include for us why you went to all those countries because I just love travel, so I'm excited to hear about it.
As I said, I was born and raised in Romania in the 70s.
Hmm.
For anyone who wants to guess my age, that's a good information. um, and Around the age of 16, I discovered my superpower. I was a very introverted child in my high school. I was the kind of present but invisible, and it was very hard for me at that age, also going through some very tough family moments. My parents divorced, my grandmother passed away. So it was that kind of teenage to maturity timing when for me it was very hard to express my emotions.
Mm.
And at that time, remember, we are talking about the late 80s now because I was 16. Nobody was talking about journaling. Nobody was talking about how important it is to put your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings on paper and to reflect on it. And somehow instinctively, I started to do that. And I remember that I was keeping my notebook very close to my heart and very well hidden because at that time I was thinking that I'll be very, I would say, discovered and vulnerable in front of my parents and my friends if someone is going to read that. But because I'm a problem solver and I'm going to talk about the uniqueness of each and every person later on, but because I'm a problem solver, I found a solution. And the solution was to encrypt everything in metaphor. And this is how I started to write poetry.
Mm.
This story, and even now when I'm thinking back and I'm thinking, I know exactly the moments. I even know the smell of the paper, and it was a very, now it's a very, like, scrubby agenda with yellow pages because of the time. But I remember that actually that first notebook full of poetry empowered me to express myself and my feelings and connect with others. My mother connected with me through poetry. My
Mm.
friends, they connected with me through poetry. And that was how actually the dialogue started, because some people, they were like, oh, these poems are beautiful, but it's a bit of sadness here. What that means? But it's a bit of, like, I would say, desire here, what that means.
Mm.
And my mom made a very bold step at that time and sent few of my poems to a coach. Nowadays, we call it like a writing coach. And under that guidance, I started to polish my writing. You know, everyone starting something new. When you start something new, or you step out of the comfort zone, there are some kind of rough edges. And you need someone holding hands with you to really help you adjust, polish,
Mm.
and really get out of that, that diamond, which is you. Actually, the diamond, it's you. And
Love that metaphor.
and I was about to say, coming from a writer. Thank you so much. so um, so this is the cradle where everything has started to really um, shape a form of my superpower. I realized that journaling and encrypting everything in metaphor, helping me connect with others, and having this ability, actually that becomes my superpower. And I'm going to be bringing this idea into the context of storytelling. I think, and it's not just me thinking, but there is also a lot of research and many talks around. But I think that any form of art, either it's poetry, either it's music, a movie, a painting, everything is storytelling. There is a story behind the painting. There is a story behind some lyrics. There is a story behind the ballet, like the dance, the beautiful dance of a ballet. There is a story behind any opera. So I think any form of art is storytelling. And maybe that's why, and this is just my personal opinion, there is so much joy and even soothing, the kind of calming when art is combined in our day-to-day activities. When you are listening to an opera or you are listening to your favorite music, there is something joyful coming because you connect with the song, you connect with the lyrics, you connect your emotions, and that, imagine two people looking to the same painting and speaking different languages and they cannot communicate between them. What do you think it is going to happen? Non-verbally, I think, looking to the same painting for the 5 minutes, at one moment they will look to each other and they're gonna smile because they will resonate with the painting even they cannot speak to each other. So to
Mm.
me, art is a very powerful storytelling which connects people even if they are not speaking the same language.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Okay.
So storytelling, my life journey brought me from the very young, mature age, brought me into the corporate life. Because you are curious how I really traveled that much. For
Hmm.
over 25 years, I was working for corporate America, various organizations, different roles, different leadership roles. And in leadership roles, I'm always saying that people who are pursuing some career path, during the career path, the performance contributes to your career path only 10%. The rest of 90% is just image and influence.
Well said.
And therefore, if you are thinking about someone pursuing a career path, trying to get maybe from the specialist to manager, or from manager to director, from director to VP. During this journey, outside of the performance, which needs to be consistent and it has to have substance, just working hard is not enough. You really need to start thinking about the way the stories you tell, because the stories you tell, they will connect you with other people and they will help you create the image and the influence you want. So therefore, what I learned during my corporate career, I learned that over 70% of what I was doing in any leadership role was about storytelling.
Mm.
Feedback is storytelling. A presentation, it's storytelling. Convincing your boss, the board about something you believe in, it's storytelling. So that's actually really came to me not in the first years. In the first years, when I was like, junior and doing my job and trying to prove myself. But when I got the first leadership role, actually, I realized that one, I really didn't know what to do with those people. So imagine that you get into a leadership role and someone is telling you, oh, by the way, these are your roles and responsibilities, these are your objectives, and this is your team. All right, so how you engage with your team,
Yeah, fine.
right? So how you engage, how you engage through storytelling.
Hmm.
And you try to understand what kind of buttons you can push or push forward, what they resonate with, what is important for them, what is in for them in some of the stories you are talking. And later on, I realized that there is this talent, those kind of talents which each and every individual has. And these are extremely important to really understand what are those unique talents at each and every individual. Because knowing that when you are telling stories and when you are communicating, you can connect much better because you tailor your story, you choose your topic based on that. So 25 years of corporate brought me in leadership positions in various countries, and I've been living in Moscow 5 years. I even lived in the US for 2 years. I lived in Dubai before moving to Dubai as an entrepreneur, and I think the other beauty in this world is the beauty of diversity, the diversity of cultures. When I was moving to a country, I was listening first because sometimes listening, there are these stories forming here, and I'm going to talk about, the kind of stories, the stories which are being like formed here. But listening and asking questions are the most important two things when you are moving and you want to establish yourself for a while in a country, because um, the behaviors are different, the culture is different, the way how people react and resonate with some of the things you've been used to do. And just that learning curve for me, always moving into a new country, it was a learning curve between 3 and 6 months.
Mm. Okay.
And after that you can say, now I get it, now I can, I should consider myself like already a local. And I always try to mark the moment saying, oh, come on, I'm a local, so it's like, nah. I learned the ropes, I learned the path. And that is something which actually is like, fueling some other stories, right? And lastly, last year, I made the very bold decision to switch to entrepreneurship. And that decision took me by surprise. Let's say it like this. Um, it just came like a very strong wish, and that wish become a will. And when I was digging a bit deeper to understand from where it comes, I realized that it comes from my purpose. And many years back, I started to ask myself a question when I was around 30s. I started to ask myself the question, why exactly I am here? Why?
Mm.
why exactly I'm here, what I'm doing, what I'm doing with my life, those kind of like questions like, what
Yeah.
I'm doing. And asking that question, I think I was in the right group of people asking that question and having those discussions that I had the opportunity to really have a deep dive for 3 days in understanding purpose and values. And out of all that, my purpose didn't change from the 30s to nowadays. It's still about the legacy and impact on people. And it's true that there is an impact in corporate because you work with so many people, and you can really impact people in a positive way. But as entrepreneur, I realize that I can do more. And doing more, it's about bringing to everyone who is interested, because I'm also thinking that I believe, actually, I strongly believe that whomever wants to grow or to transform or to change is just a matter of willingness, because they're gonna find the resources, they'll become resourceful in doing that. And I think that there are so
Mm.
many resourceful people in your audience, moving from different challenges in life or taking up challenges in life and being resourceful. I don't think that you can teach that, but I think that people, they really try to become very creative in finding solutions.
Mm.
Curiosity plays a role. The desire to really be able to do things plays a role. And when that comes in, you really become resourceful.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not a matter of money. I think sometimes it's just a matter of how you interpret, how you take a challenge, and you have that support network around you, and you find the resources within your network to solve for a problem or for a challenge.
Mm.
I,
So
I, I believe
the desire fuels the resourcefulness.
exactly, exactly.
Okay.
The purpose, the objective, that fuels that path of finding solutions in a very creative way.
Back to creativity.
Yeah, back to creativity, exactly. So stepping into entrepreneurship, I was thinking that, and I still believe that the impact which I could have with the stories I can share, with the books I'm writing, with the coaching which I'm doing, will have the I'll have the opportunity to impact not hundreds of people, but I believe millions of people in a span of like 3 to 5 years. And that is going to be my legacy, because the legacy, it's about
Legacy
what
and
I'm
impact.
exactly. The legacy, it's
Mm.
it's 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 related to the impact.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Mm. Wow. Okay, that is extraordinary. I want to hear more about this. Going back through everything that we've heard so far, I just want to take an opportunity to say you're very captivating to listen to. There's been many times where I've thought maybe I should say something, and I'm like, no, but I want to hear what she has to say next. So you are very captivating to listen to.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Christine. Thank you,
Tru-
thank you, and thank you
Truly.
for giving me the space to share. Sometimes I'm posing, but when I'm on the roll and I'm very passionate about, and I
Yeah.
feel that you created already the space for me to share. I was just kept going, but now I'm posing and I'm waiting for the next question.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, yeah, and you can tell you're passionate. And so it's just captivating to listen to. And one theme that I've really, really seen throughout is that there's a creativity and an art to not only your superpower when you were 16 to the poetry, and as you say, a painting. But there was a creativity in art throughout your or sorry, your corporate space. Because you said the word corporate next to the word art, and I felt my energy go, oh yeah, no, the killer of art. But then you found a way to say there was art in corporate America. And I just thought that was fascinating. And so it just really speaks to your ability to look at each opportunity as a form of storytelling, as a form, as a an opportunity for listening and creativity. And now you're moving your creativity into entrepreneurship, and you're taking the same kind of foundation that I'm really hearing throughout your life
Yeah,
story, which is this this legacy and impact, this creativity that has brought you through each stage of life is now landed in entrepreneurship. And now you want to
yeah,
make an impact on large groups of people. And so my
true.
next question, I suppose, would be what is it that you are doing in your entrepreneurship journey, to get a little bit more clarity there?
I I was looking to what is going to empower people instead of always looking to things from a position of pain. Why not thinking about pleasure? Because currently in social media and everywhere, everything starts with a story which is like really bringing, is connecting with the audience through a pain. Like my story, I had that pain. And
Mhm.
I was thinking how I can really reverse this and look from from an empowerment way, from a pleasure way. Okay, so let me define how what I'm thinking about, like pleasure. I think people, they should really realize that each and every individual, they are a unique value proposition. Irrespective where you are in your life, what you are doing right now, you as individual, you are a unique value proposition to someone else. Period. And that unique value proposition consists in four elements.
Mhm.
The first element is that each and every individual comes with a past story, some experiences, some learnings that brought the person where it is right now in the present. That past story, it's extremely rich. And in life, we do have a handful of aha moments, those kind of moments when we switch direction, we made a tough decision, we overcome a challenge, and we came on the other side much stronger. That's resilience. So I think that each
Mhm.
and every individual has in life this kind of handful of up to five big moments, which become their origin story, the story which brought them where they are right now. That's one.
Brilliant.
Number two,
That's where I sit. Is the resilience. What's your story? Where do you go? Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is that each and every individual has a future story.
Mm.
We all have aspirations. Even if the two of us, we say that we want to climb one hill in front of us, the way how we are going to climb the hill is going to be different. You might take the car, I might do a hike. So even if we have the same aspirations, the path to our aspirations is going to be different. So
Mm-hmm.
that, again, it's very unique to each and every individual. The third element, and this is something I'm very passionate about, and actually I'm teaching this, and today I just had an amazing session with someone, and that just filled my day. It's
Mm.
about that we as individuals, we are gifted from the beginning of like our existence with a set of like, 34 talents. It's not me, but Gallup, and I hope that or your audience you heard about the Clifton Strengths Finder, having 50
Mm.
years of research behind. I'm gonna share the link with everyone.
Okay. Yeah.
So Gallup and Don Clifton, the initiator of Clifton Strengths Finder, they realized that each and every individual, we have this kind of set of 34 talents. But these 34 talents, we access them differently. The top 10 talents are unique to each and every individual.
Okay.
And those are the talents which can be accessed easily from the moment you get out of bed. The top five, they are like out of the 10 top five, you you access them with so much easiness that you don't even realize that you have them.
Cool.
And just to give the example, so for example, my top five talents, which become my strengths because I use them every day. I'm a learner. I'm an arranger, meaning that I can juggle with multiple priorities in the same time, with ease. I'm a restorative. I'm a problem solver. This is what it means, restorative. I'm responsible, meaning that I take ownership and I walk the talk. And I'm strategic, meaning
Hmm.
that to get from point A to point B, I know how to, but I also have plan A, B, and C. These are my top five talents, which become strengths because I use them every day.
Beautiful.
So imagine that each and every individual carries this kind of talents, top 10, to access with very like limited to none effort. They just need to name them and to claim them. And
Mm.
that's a very easy process to do it. The next 10, I'm calling them the reading glasses. It's the is the that you can access those talents, but it takes a bit of an effort, but not very much. They are accessible. The rest of to the 34 to rest 14, actually those are the talents where I'm calling them the party glasses, because you need to do a bit of more extra effort to access them, which means that party glasses, you need to understand the party theme to go buy, so
Hmm.
this is how I segment the 34 talents. So now imagine that you as an individual, you understand your top 10, but not only that, you understand, uh, thinking about your most recent experiences or to your aha moments, you really realize that in fact you use those talents. So you not only name them, but you claim them. And further on, you just start consciously using it, which means that instead of like looking to challenges from a position of weakness, you look to challenges from a position of strength and talents
And empowerment.
and empowerment. And I'll be saying this, and I'm talking about this very, very easily. A weakness, and I'll incorporate that was a thing like, what's your gap? You are getting feedback about gaps. You are working to fill in those gaps. To really catch up with your weaknesses. A weakness is never going to become a strength, period.
Mm. Okay.
But you can use your strengths You can use your strengths, the ones which you own them, and yeah, and you know that you have them. You can use them to really address a challenge.
Hmm.
That is
Hmm.
the way how to look to challenges. An analyst might never become a strategist, or it could become with a lot of effort, right? If strategic is not top 10, with a lot of effort, and instead of having something where having a different focus, where actually his analytical skills, maybe a CFO, maybe and something where he can really put at work in a positive with a positive impact and outcome, his strength. Maybe I didn't use the right example. People who are thinking that an analytic person cannot become a strategist is just an example, guys, right? I didn't pick,
Yeah,
maybe I
fine.
didn't pick the right one. But just to exemplify, right? I don't want people to feel offended, like, I'll never be a strategist. You'll be.
Fair enough.
so,
Fair enough.
so, so, let me recap. So it's about your past story, your future story, your talents.
Hmm.
And the fourth one, it's about values, your
Hmm.
individual values. And when people are talking about values, I say, oh, but what values are? Values are those things which are important for you in life, and you appreciate those things when you see it in someone else's behavior, and you behave based on those, right? So for example, friendship could be a very, very important value for someone, because you behave and you embrace friendship, and therefore that is something which you easily recognize in someone else as value, and maybe you connect much better. So to me, if you are thinking that the first five values of someone, they are unique, which it means that at the individual level, you already have four things which makes you who you are, who you're gonna become, and you become a unique value proposition to anyone else. This
Okay.
is what I'm teaching, and this is what my coaching is about, because I believe that people, they have an opportunity to become more empowered and to really use their strengths in order to overcome gaps and challenges, instead of coming from a position when they are working on weaknesses, not knowing what strengths they have.
Fine. Right. Right. Okay. And that's these four aspects of the person.
Yes. And if you add them up like an equation, they become the personal or the individual unique value proposition of anyone.
Mm. And that in itself leads to empowerment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
empowerment.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I had never considered these four aspects. I work very much in the resilience sector of like, what's your story and, how can you turn it and how can you begin to work on your future story. I do speak about values, very little about talents, to be fair.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then values, talents, resilience story and future story. There we go. So I've touched on each aspect. And I just think that's fascinating because, we can we can move away from our five kind of major experiences, whatever those experiences are. But what's next? And it sounds to me like you're really helping people kind of work on the what's next. Um,
Yes.
So kind of you've gotten through all of this. Now, how do you want to empower yourself for your future story? And as you go through your future story, who are you there? And how can
Yes.
you turn that? And I'm hearing is how can you tell your story? I'm hearing that you are also teaching people how to have their value and impact and their through their story. Am I right there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You are right. There are different frameworks of storytelling, depending on the audience and depending on the circumstances. So there is a framework which is just the story framework,
Mm-hmm.
like the scene, the tension, the opportunity, the realization, and the yield, meaning what it meant for the person and what takes away as a learning. So this is like a framework how you can tell a story resonating and connecting with some other people. There is also a dream framework about the future, how to put your aspirations over there. I have a digital workbook which I'll be very happy to share with your audience as a free gift. And
Mm.
and there is also a real story which helps with the realizations to really frame the. I love the realization method though more than this framework. I love how you think and about the top five realization in your past story. Um, and I think these are just frameworks. But when I'm really talking about the storytelling, the philosophy behind is that in anyone's life and out of all the stories we share we share out there, even our conversation is storytelling. Out
Certainly.
of all the conversations, two stories are very important. This origin story, the story which brought you here, where you are right now, who you become now, because now it's a foundation for the future. But the other foundation for the future are the stories you tell yourself here, your self-talk.
Mhm.
That is an intense storytelling here. And that's that comes and with all the negative self-talk and with all the negativity. Um, I'm not teaching that because there are so many other coaches out there teaching about how to prevent the negative self-talk, how to create positive affirmations. Um, it's not my forte. I could do it, but and sometimes I'm irrespective if I'm teaching or not, just because the positivity in what I'm doing and the strength piece, I think that, that is going to drive anyway the positive self talk, because you become empowered enough through your strengths to realize that you can do anything.
Mhm.
So, but those stories, even me nowadays, especially when you go in entrepreneurship and you are so much in your head, I'm
Fine.
like I'm like very careful with my own self-talk.
Yeah.
And what I learned doing, and this is like a habit, the
Yeah.
habit of positive affirmations, the habit of checking all the time with your purpose and your objectives, because there is that, oh, but you shouldn't do that. Yeah, no, you check, okay, so logically speaking, why I shouldn't do it, why I shouldn't be doing that. And you have a rational conversation, not an emotional one. So to me, there are different practices which I do it for myself. And I think from all the stories, I'm very focused in helping people with the past story, the story which which brought you where you are right now, but also about their future story and how they can achieve those aspirations using their strengths and
Mhm.
values.
Right. Wow. Okay. And do we learn that in your book? I'd like to hear about your book. Is that some of the information and frameworks that we're going to move you forward in life in your book?
The first book is talking about is helping readers to write their own story, their origin story. But
Okay.
the second book, which is coming late September, early October, is coming with all the frameworks and is
Mhm.
also coming and is talking about the individual unique value proposition, and is giving a lot of tools about how people they should look to themselves as individuals, like being a unique value proposition. So let me tell you a story let me tell you the story how I ended up with this unique value proposition, because this is very funny. So
Perfect.
um, as an entrepreneur, I was just like thinking, oh my God, so my offer, my products, my
Mm.
pricing strategy. And you know, when you are like saying like, oh, I feel that my unique value proposition to my customers is not very well knitted. It's like I needed to work. And I was talking with a friend of mine, and I said, what do you think about this value ladder? What do you think about the products, pricing strategy and everything else? I said, that the customer value proposition, that unique value proposition, I think that I should still work, I should still be working on it, overthinking.
Fine.
In entrepreneurship at the beginning, of course, you have a lot of overthinking.
I recall this
So
moment. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So my friend looked at me. It was a long pause between us because I was expecting him to say something. My friend looked at me and he said exactly like this. He said, but you are the unique value proposition. What else you wanna sell?
Hmm.
In that very moment, it really clicked, like click, 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 click. And I said, oh, you know what? That's it. So it's sometimes even in sales, and it bumped immediately from my memory. Sometimes even in sales, right? The sale conversation or the closure of the sales, yes, it had a product, like tangible thing which you are selling, but ultimately the relationship, the connection, the loyalty of the customer, it was sometimes much more linked with the person doing the sales. So think
Mm-hmm.
about the contracts, how you build the relationship, the loyalty, the retention, and everything. So it really clicked like this, and I said, well, yes, from my sales days, I remember that sometimes what I was saying, how I was taking care of my customer, how I was walking the talk, the way how I was behaving, the the aspirations which I was fulfilling for the customer. That was the unique value proposition, sometimes much more valuable than the product in itself. So
Truth.
that was the moment which inspired my second book. And I said, in my second book, and the book doesn't have yet a name. It's going to be very weird. It's not that I'm overthinking, but I'm having 2, 3 titles, and I'm gonna do a LinkedIn poll for that to really understand which one resonates more, giving
Fine.
a little bit of the description of the book.
Mm.
But this second book really comes with this empowerment dose. Like it's
Mm.
like an empowerment dose to people really understanding how they should look to themselves through this unique value proposition, and also gives the tools to help them identify their unique value proposition.
Mm. Okay. Okay, and it sounds to me like a unique value proposition is is different from, say, your elevator pitch or something like that, where someone were to ask you at a party, what do you do? It does sound different than that. It sounds like, what value do you bring to the table based on, who you are as a person. Am I understanding that
Exactly,
correctly?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly, exactly.
Okay.
And and it's very personal, and you
Hmm.
can take bits and pieces of the four to disclose in various environments. By the way, related to this very famous question, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Um, I do have an answer because most of the time people are especially people having like a job and some responsibilities on the title, they are saying, "Oh, what do you
Teacher,
do?" I,
nurse. Yeah.
exactly, exactly, exactly. Um, the way how I answer is what I do is what I believe. And
Mm,
what I believe is the fact that, I believe that each and every person has the potential to grow as long as they want to.
nice. Love
Very
that.
simple. You pause and people are saying, what? Oh, can you say more?
Mm, fine. Yeah.
Because what I do in my day to day, if you strip off the title, the job, actually you are down to the purpose, right? This is
Hmm.
what we do in life is very linked with our purpose, is not linked with a title. So because someone is a nurse, they have a very deep purpose, and I'm very respectful to this particular type of job. But they are driven by a purpose, and they are doing what they are doing because of that purpose. So what you do is what you believe, and you believe that everything has a cure, or you can cure as many people in life. This is your belief. The fact that you are a nurse is just a title. You can be a doctor, you can be a surgeon, you can be anything, right? But that's your
Yeah.
belief, and this is what you do. You act because of what you believe.
So true. I like the simplicity of breaking that down from an entrepreneurship standpoint, but also just from a person standpoint. If someone were to say, "What are you?" I am a housewife, for example, or I am a mother, I'm a daughter. There is a belief and a purpose behind how you identify yourself. And I
Exactly.
love how you begin with the belief. You begin with so you move away from the title, which might be coach or whatever, but I mean, who cares really? And you
Yeah,
move into what it is that your belief is around what it is that you do. And I
yeah,
think that's a really unique way of coming at it. I like that a lot.
yeah. It's a bit of longer, like what I'm saying, what do you do? And I'm always saying, what I do is what I believe. And I believe that every individual has the opportunity to grow and develop themselves from a position of strength.
Mhm. Yeah.
That is my strong belief.
Yes. That's a beautiful belief. Yes. And it sounds like you have really taken that through the journey that we've taken, listening to you, hearing your stories. I think that I have heard your belief pop up over and over and over again. Whether you were, a young person finding strength in your ability to write poetry, or whether you were in the corporate space finding your strength in the ability to tell story. Moving to Dubai and saying, what, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and deciding to find your strength in and your determination in entrepreneurship and writing a book. I'm hearing over and over again that you have done that throughout your life. And so thank you for sharing your stories with us.
Thank
I'm
you so much, Christine.
truly, truly, I'm looking forward to linking some of the links that we spoke about. So let's recap. One of them is the Strength Finder,
Yes,
which is from
yes,
some separate authors and researchers, and I'm looking
yeah,
forward to hearing about that. Another one is we've got a free gift coming
The
Um,
digital workbook, yeah.
yes, the workbook that you have made, that's going to help us clarify. Sorry, could you reiterate again what it will help us clarify?
The digital workbook is going to come with the framework, which will help people to write micro stories based on the story method.
Fine. Okay, perfect. Okay, so
To
the story
structure
method.
them very concise and very nicely. They can use the method even when they are like, they want to interact with someone to be very concise, but they can also use the micro stories even for the social media.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And then of course we're going to link your book, which I'm looking forward to as well. And is there any other connection points that we'll be linking as well, Laura?
Well, everyone could connect with me on LinkedIn. Of course, LinkedIn
Okay.
is my major platform.
Sure. LinkedIn.
Very active on LinkedIn. Um, I'm also planning to, together with a very good friend of mine, we are planning to launch a podcast in October.
Wow,
Um,
congratulations.
Thank you. It's about rebel leadership.
Mm,
We are going to bring a lot of like funny stories and some of the stories talking about the uncomfortable things in the corporate space because we have tons of that.
fine.
and it's not just about uncomfortable situations, but it's also how to solve for on a serious note, how to manage conflict, how to engage much better, upwards, how upwards because downwards, you really need to build a very good cool team. How to build a very good team. So all these kind of topics, which I think that we went through some experiences in different organizations, and just those stories and our learnings and our experiences, people might take some very good I would say thoughts or like perspective. Is going to be a,
Mhm.
a matter of perspective. We are not going to give solutions, but that perspective might help others to really think things through. So yeah, so that will be another way. Definitely I'll be sharing with you all the assets, as I'm calling the assets, because I hope that your listeners, your viewers, they will gonna enjoy using the tools, also listening to our conversation. And I'm so
Really.
grateful that you created me the space. I felt we've met for the first time. I felt the energy, and I felt that I could really be again authentic me talking from my heart, and thank you for that.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for trusting me and for creating that space, because you know what I think, coming back to stories, I think that we are in our zone of genius. We tell our best stories when we feel like we can be authentic, and so great work there. Thank you so much for sharing with us and for with our listeners. I'm sure everyone is still just gripping on to every word that you say because you are so captivating, and really looking forward to connecting all of your information below.
Thank you, Christine, much appreciative.
Thank you, Laura.